discovered a dead baby in the bathroom. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. It came out at me. It was not crying or anything. Like, how big is the baby? What? 9 months? It was crying. Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Or if you're new here, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be discussing a case that seems to happen way too often. A young girl gives birth to a baby, but instead of taking care of that baby, she decides for some unknown reason that she needs to get rid of the baby. That is exactly what happened in Alexi Treviso's case. For some reason, she was scared to tell her parents that she was pregnant. She went to the hospital, gave birth, and put the baby in a trash can. And now she is facing murder charges. So let's go ahead, let's roll the intro, and then we will get right into it. On January 27, 2023, a 19-year-old girl named Alexi Treviso was taken to the hospital by her mom. Alexi had been experiencing back pain for several hours. Now, I do want to say really quickly, she was 19 years old, so she is legally what you would say is an adult, but she was still living at home with her parents, and she was still in school. She was a senior in high school. Now, she was brought to the hospital complaining of back pain, and doctors started asking her, is there any chance that you can be pregnant? She said absolutely not, that she was a virgin, she had never had sex, so there was no way that she could be pregnant. The doctors would run multiple tests, and it would come back that she was in fact pregnant. Even after the test came back, Alexi continued to deny the possibility of her being pregnant. Alexi's mom was shocked, asking her questions about the pregnancy, the details of the pregnancy. How long have you been pregnant? Did you know? Who's the father? Once again, Alexi denied knowing anything, saying that there was no possible way that she could be pregnant. She was a virgin. At some point during the evening, Alexi told her mom and medical personnel that she needed to go to the bathroom. So she got up, she walked down the hall, she goes to the bathroom. Alexi's mom grew concerned when Alexi did not return. So she walked down the hall to the bathroom and knocked on the door and asked Alexi if she was okay. Alexi told her mom, yeah, I'm fine, I'll be out shortly. Alexi's mom returns to the room. Time goes by, more time goes by. Finally, Alexi's mom walks back to the bathroom and demands that Alexi come out. Her mom tries to enter the bathroom and realizes that her daughter has herself locked in the bathroom. Medical personnel eventually got the door open, and when they walked in the bathroom, they were shocked at what they saw. Alexi was up cleaning up puddles of blood all over the bathroom. Now, the doctors would later tell the police that they thought that Alexi had done something to herself in an effort to terminate the pregnancy. So they immediately got Alexi back to the bedroom, to the bed, and they began to examine her to make sure that she was okay, that she was not, or that she did not do something in order to try to hurt the baby that they assumed was still inside of her. So they have her back in the bedroom. They call housekeeping to come in and clean up the bathroom. Once housekeeping was there, they began cleaning up all the blood. One of the ladies actually looked into one of the trash cans, and it looked like the trash can had just been changed, that the trash bag had just been taken out and a new one placed inside. So the two ladies in housekeeping began to clean up all the blood and clean everything up. Right on their way out, one of the housekeepers picked the trash can up, and that's when she noticed that the trash can was kind of heavy. So she set it down, once again looked inside, and it looked like the trash can had just been emptied. There was a new liner in it, and there was nothing inside. But upon further inspection, she realized that there was something underneath the bag. So she took the trash bag off, and there laid a baby. They immediately got the doctor into the bathroom, showed the doctor what had been happening, that they had found this baby in the trash can. And obviously the doctor knew exactly what had happened. That when Alexi had locked herself into the bathroom, she had given birth to the baby and put the baby in the trash can. The doctor had the baby moved up to the trauma unit so they could hopefully save the baby's life. Unfortunately, that was not the case. There was nothing they could do, and the baby boy would pass away. Now, before the doctors would even go back into the room with Alexi or her mom, they needed to call 911. They needed to get the police there. So they called 911 and the police arrived pretty quickly. The doctors were able to explain what happened. One doctor and one nurse met two police officers out in the hallway, and on the body cam footage, you can hear the doctor telling the police officers she put the baby in the trash can and then put another liner over the top of it. The baby is dead. She killed the kid. She's gonna lie to us. She wouldn't even tell us that she was pregnant. She's been lying this whole time. Now, the police, of course, wanted to talk to Alexi. They needed to get the story from her and find out what happened. But because Alexi delivered in the bathroom and the doctors had no idea what had happened, they didn't know if she delivered her placenta. They didn't know, if everything went smooth throughout the delivery because nobody was in there with her. How did she cut the umbilical cord? Did she use something that was sterile? Is she going to set up an infection later? When you have a baby, you have to deliver the afterbirth. If the placenta is not delivered, it can cause life-threatening bleeding, or it can set up a life-threatening infection. So at this point, the doctors are like, we need to figure out if she's delivered the placenta, so we need to send her to a bigger hospital. From my understanding, this was a smaller hospital. This hospital did not even have a labor and delivery unit. So at this point, they needed to get her to a hospital that had the correct staff on hand that could make sure that she had delivered everything that needed to be delivered. That way she would not be in any danger. But they also needed to find out what happened. The police also needed to start their investigation. So they decided she needs to be airlifted to a bigger hospital. But in the meantime, while we're waiting for that to take place, the police officers could go into the room and start questioning her about what took place. Now, at this point, Alexi and her mom, they're still in the hospital room, and Alexi has no idea that the baby has been found. A doctor, a nurse, and one police officer would go into Alexi's hospital room. Once they got in there, the doctor told Alexi, she said, we discovered a dead baby in the bathroom trash can. Alexi immediately starts crying, saying, I'm sorry, it came out of me, and I didn't know what to do. Nothing was moving, nothing was crying. Alexi's mom, shocked, she tells Alexi, she says, Alexi, I just asked you about this. You promised me. The doctor then explained to Alexi and her mom that because Alexi lied about the pregnancy and then tried to hide the baby, that they had to call the police. Alexi's mom asked her, what did you do to the baby? Alexi responded again that the baby was not crying, the baby was not moving. She was scared, so she put the baby in the trash can. At one point on the body cam footage, the mother asked the doctors, how big was the baby? She was shocked to find out that the baby was full term. I think at this point in the video, the mother is really starting to realize what is happening. She turns to her daughter and she asks, haven't you been watching the news? So from my understanding, there was another case very similar to this that had just happened in their hometown where a young girl had given birth to the baby, and she actually took the baby to a garbage dumpster and put the baby in a trash bag and threw it over into the dumpster. That lady had been found and she had been arrested. And Alexi's mom said, haven't you been watching the news? Didn't you see about that? The girl's in jail and she's going to go to prison probably for the rest of her life. Is that what you want? Once again, Lexi's saying the same thing. I was scared. The baby wasn't making any noise. The baby wasn't moving. Just kind of hanging on to her story that, I guess in her mind, she thought the baby had already passed away. Now, at one point during everything, they had Alexi's mom leave the room. She was to be in the room alone because she was 19 years old. The mom was not allowed to stay in there with her, and two officers would stand outside the room to make sure that Alexi could not leave. They waited for the helicopter to get there, and then they life flighted her to a bigger hospital. Later that night, Alexi would arrive at Roswell Hospital, where she was treated like a patient who had just had a baby, and a couple of days later, she was released. A few weeks after her release from the hospital, the autopsy report for her baby would come back. And the report stated that the death was not consistent with a stillbirth, as the baby actually passed away with air in his lungs. There were also no signs of deformities. The medical examiner's notes actually states injuries consistent with being suffocated after birth, which makes sense considering she put the baby in a trash can and put a trash bag over top of the baby. On May 10th, 2023, just 15 days before Alexi's graduation, she was arrested and charged with 1 count first-degree murder and 1 count of tampering with evidence. but she would not stay in jail long. She would be released just a couple of days after that on a $100,000 bond. And the judge allowed her to attend her graduation. She had a curfew of 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. She was not made to wear an ankle monitor. She was not put under house arrest. She is required to attend counseling, and she was also given permission to travel outside of the state. Now, if any of these terms are violated, which doesn't really seem to be like much, I mean, she just has to be home by 7 p.m. She can go outside of the state, no house arrest. So, I mean, it really doesn't seem like there's very many stipulations to this bond. But either way, if she breaks any of these stipulations, she will be sent back to jail. Right now, she is awaiting arraignment, but there isn't a date set for that. Now, a defense attorney named Charles Rickers, who defended Brooke Richardson. Brooke Richardson is a 17-year-old girl, or she was a 17-year-old girl, who was accused of murdering and burying her newborn baby in the backyard. At this point, Brooke is not 17, but this took place when she was 17. She's from Ohio, and she stood trial. She was acquitted on all charges. Well, her attorney, Charles Rickers, he did an interview with Law and Crime Network, and he said that the stipulations of her bond release was not surprising, considering that she is innocent until proven guilty. And also because she is 19 years old, he didn't feel like she would be considered a flight risk, which is more than likely why she is allowed to travel. Riggers told Law and Crime that if he was defending this case, his first plan would be to bring in mental health experts to have Alexi evaluated. He said if she were to receive some sort of mental health diagnosis, that could change her charges. Her charges could be altered to much lesser charges, which in turn would give her less time if found guilty. Riggers also stated that he believes the body cam footage could work in her defense. He says her defense attorneys could play this in court as proof that she clearly thought the baby was already deceased when she placed the baby in the trash can. Alexi's representatives did release a statement saying that Alexi should not be facing a murder charge, that this is not a classic case of child abuse, and that she doesn't have a prior record. Now, I could not find any information on the father. I really couldn't find any information other than what I told you guys. Like, I couldn't find any information on the mom, the dad, the father of the baby. Like I said, from what I know, she did walk with her classmates at her graduation. But as far as anything else, that's it. No information has come out in regards to who the father is or if he's come forward, and nothing else about the parents. I don't know much about their background. This is it. So I don't really know what her reasoning was for lying and, keeping her story that she was a virgin, that she had never had sex. She was 19 years old. Almost an adult, or legally an adult. If she was clearly having sex, so why not just be honest with her parents? I don't know, you guys, but I'm going to continue to cover this case. I'm going to continue to keep up with it. So if you are interested in this case and want to continue to keep up with it, please consider subscribing to the channel. Leave me all your thoughts about this case in the comment section below. Like I said, this is one of those stories that are becoming way too common. They seem to be happening, every other day. You hear a story of someone leaving their newborn somewhere, or throwing their newborn away, or having a baby and leaving it in the trash can. I don't know if people are aware of this, but you can actually bring babies to most fire stations or police departments and just leave them outside and knock on the door and take off, and they will take them in. So there's no reason for them to be killing these babies. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's a very, very sad situation. Either way, you guys, if any more information comes out about, why she did it, why she lied, who the baby daddy is, I'll let you guys know that. If nothing else comes up, we will just be waiting for the arraignment, and I will keep you guys posted on that as well. So like I said, please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't yet, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye, everyone.